Hello, my name's David. I'm the literacy educator at the Eric Carle Museum of Picture Book Art. Thank you so much for joining Storytime with the Carle, our weekly read aloud series. Today we'll be reading Leave Me Alone by Vera Brosgol. And this story is it's an epic tale about a grandmother who just wants some peace and quiet so that she can do some knitting. Big thanks to Roaring Brook and Macmillan for giving us permission to share this book with you. On the cover, we see that grandmother in the middle. She's not looking too happy, right? She looks a little angry, right? And there's a bear next to her grabbing a ball of yarn from her. And above the old woman is a speech bubble, right? With big letters that say, "Leave me alone." Do you think that this old woman is saying that quietly or loudly? Loudly, right? Because if we look closely, her mouth is open like she's screaming, and those letters are really big, right? And there's also an exclamation mark. So we're going to probably hear the old woman say, "Leave me alone," again as we read this book. So let's get ready and practice it, saying it all together as loud as we can. On three, we'll try it. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Leave me alone by Vera Brosgol. On our title page, we see the old woman again. She's got a big sack slung over her shoulder. And what do you think she's screaming? Leave me alone. Once there was an old woman. She lived in a small village, in a small house, with a very big family. Wow, what are they doing? There are so many people in that house. There are kids jumping and hanging from the ceiling and grabbing all of her yarn. How does Grandma feel? Not very happy, kind of annoyed. Winter was coming. That meant she had some very important knitting to do. But it wasn't getting done. Why wasn't it getting done? Because all the kids wanted to play with her. Her grandchildren were very curious about her knitting. Were you supposed to hit the ball with a stick? No. Could you eat it? Is that what yarn's for? No. Could you make your brother eat it? No. Why did the ball get smaller and smaller as you chased it? The old woman was at the end of her rope, looking pretty upset. And what's she looking at? She's looking down at this long line, this long piece of yarn. So she made her bed as neatly as she could, while the kids jumped and played. She swept the floorboards until they more or less shone. Kids are still getting the floor dirty. She drank tea from her samovar. Samovar is a big metal container. She packed up her things in a big sack, and as she left, she shouted back, "Oh, where's the old woman? There she is. And what do you think she's screaming? 1, 2, 3. Leave me alone!" There she goes, leaving the village. I wonder where she's gonna go. The old woman walked through the deep, dark forest. She made a fire so that she could see what she was doing. Then she sat down and began to knit. Was she alone? Nope. Who found her? The bear family was very curious about the light from her fire and about what she might taste like. Oh, look at the big teeth on that bear. And the little cubs have grabbed her yarn and are playing with it. Grandma doesn't look too happy. What do you think she's yelling at the bear? 1, 2, 3. Leave me alone! The old woman shouted. But they didn't listen because bears don't speak English. So she packed up her sack and left. Where do you think she's going? The old woman climbed up the mountainside. It was cold, so she found a small, sheltered place. Then she sat down and began to knit. Is she alone now? Nope. Who found her? The mountain goats were very excited to have a visitor, especially one that brought snacks. What are those goats snacking on? Her yarn. They're grabbing all her yarn and trying to eat it. Oh no. What do you think that old woman is shouting? 1, 2, 3. Leave me alone! The old woman shouted. But the goats were too busy fighting over the red ones, which they all agreed were the best. So she picked up her sack and left. The old woman climbed higher and higher up the mountain. Where is she going now? She reached the top and climbed onto the moon. She found a rock that was shaped like a chair. She sat down and began to knit. Is she alone? Nope. The little green moon men had never seen a woman before, old or otherwise. They examined her with handheld scanners that went beep, boop. That old woman doesn't look very happy about it. On three. 1, 2, 3. Leave me alone! The old woman shouted. But the little green moon men couldn't hear her because they didn't have any ears. They have eyes and a nose, but no ears. So she picked up her sack and left through a wormhole. There's a big black circle here. A wormhole is like a tunnel through time and space. The void on the other side of the wormhole was very dark and very, very quiet. She was absolutely, completely, utterly alone. How do you think you'd feel if you were all alone in the dark? I don't know. Sometimes I might feel a little scared or a little lonely, but how does she feel? How does the old woman feel? Pretty happy, right? Finally, she's getting to do her knitting. It was perfect. What did she make? Soon she had no more yarn and 30 little sweaters. And she was alone. And now that she's finished all her knitting, how do you think she feels? A little lonely, maybe. So she put the 30 sweaters into her big sack. She swept the void until it was a nice matte black. I guess there's also some dust even in the wormhole. She had a cup of tea from her samovar. Then she picked up the sack and left through another wormhole. I wonder what's on the other side of this wormhole. Where is she? Where did she come out? Her home? When she came out the other side, everything was right where she'd left it. And she didn't say a word. Oh, look. She is so happy to be back. And the kids are all so happy that she's back. And what is she giving them? She's giving all the kids the sweaters that she made. Yay! And here we can see the kids all wearing those sweaters in a big circle. Oh, I love this book. I don't know about you, but as much as I love my family and my home, sometimes I also feel like I just need a little bit of time and space to do my own thing, to read a book, to write, or to just sit quietly and think. Do you ever feel that way? Yeah. In the book, the old woman just wants some peace and quiet so that she can do her knitting. And if you feel like you would like some time, some quiet time to create, and you want to try making some art that you can wear, you can visit the Carle's Art Studio blog, Making Art Together, and search wearable art. And you can find all kinds of great ideas for at-home art activities that you can wear. And I've put a link in the event description if you're interested in checking that out. Well, thank you again so much for joining our story time and sharing your stories with us. We hope that you'll join us for our next story time. In the meantime, take care. We hope that you find some peace and quiet. Bye.